Man, rent prices are becoming so crazy. People are becoming homeless. Man, let's see what they got to say.
And this is the kitchen.
Okay. Okay, I like this unit. How much did you say rent was?
This unit is $5,000.
Choose to renew our lease in August. It's going to cost us $4,008 a month.
Sheesh.
But I'm literally working just to pay rent for us to have a place to sleep.
I work more than full time. I work more than 50 hours every week, and I can't qualify for an apartment in most states in America today.
And she was taking me up to this room and she was like, oh my God, you're gonna love it. It's a 1-bedroom, it's $2,800, but it has a big balcony. Oh, it has a big balcony, bitch. Does it?
Now inflation is going crazy.
$1,800 for a studio apartment downtown, minus $200 parking, minus utilities. Like, what the fuck? How are you guys living? How are you guys living? Please tell me.
Rent prices are out of control. Landlords are gouging tenants, and people are struggling to find affordable housing. Let's dive into the world of rental nightmares and speculation.
Okay, I like this unit. How much did you say rent was?
This unit is $5,000.
Oh no, I'm renting, not buying.
I know, $5,000 for rent, not including utilities.
Does it come with a family or?
If money is an issue, I can refer you to someone else.
Nah, money's not an issue. You said it was 5,000?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's that, like 1,000, like 5 times or something?
That's how numbers work. So yes.
Yeah.
So the deposit will be $3,500, including first and last month's rent, plus the application fee, which brings you to about $17,000.
See, my real issue are these cabinets.
Sheesh.
These made of real wood?
No, sir.
See, there's a problem. I'm allergic to fake wood. Can't even touch it.
I'm sorry to hear that. I can show you more expensive units if you...
I'm parched. Do you have something to drink?
Here you go.
Thank you. So tell me more about the neighbors.
Your closest neighbor is a lawyer.
Very nice.
And what do you do for work, sir?
Oh, well, I've had some experience in the legal system myself.
Sheesh.
Oh, like a judge.
Bring back $900 rent.
That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Bro is clearly talking about, he was kind of capping. 17,000. Imagine paying 17,000 just to get into an apartment, man. Insane.
Rent. I keep telling y'all we all need to go on a rent strike. Every state all together at the same time. That's the only way they'll stop increasing rent. And what safety nets do you have in place for all of the people who are suddenly going to be unhoused? This is by no means the first time I've seen something like this, but when we're talking about irresponsible organizing, this is what we're talking about. Telling people to put their housing at risk, knowing full well that many of them have nowhere else to go, and if they get evicted, that means they are on the street, to just stop paying rent and do a rent strike without doing any of the work to provide safety and safety nets and support for those people is incredibly irresponsible. There should absolutely be rent caps. Rent should be lower. Rent is insane. The rental market needs more regulation. It's out of control. And yes, a rent strike can be a way to achieve that. But if you do not already have all of these safety nets put in place for the people who are going to be striking, it's going to fall apart incredibly quickly. And the most vulnerable people will be in even worse places than they were at the beginning. You need to have infrastructure in place for this to work.
Now, everything is supply and demand, but just telling people on Twitter to go on a run strike, bro was just looking for clout at that point.
7 days. And I told this bitch I don't want to spend more than $2,200. And she was taking me up to this room and she was like, oh my God, you're going to love it. It's a 1-bedroom, it's $2,800, but it has a big balcony. Oh, it has a big balcony, bitch. Does it? Do you know what else is big? No? Okay, let me tell you what's not. The bank account. The budget.
Sheesh.
The credit score. The patience, bitch. Why don't you take the keys to Miss 2,800, not including parking and utilities, and shove it up here?
So I got a letter
Yeah,
from my apartment complex.
that's super expensive. I mean, 28. Yeah, the price is just going up and up.
To Miss Rachel Peterson Connolly. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but basically, if Ty and I choose to renew our lease in August, it's gonna cost us $4,008 a month. We live in a 2-bed, 2-bath in South Denver.
Just so you don't think I'm making it up, we would be paying almost as much as my parents do for a 7-bedroom, 11-acre house.
Colorado, y'all are on some crack cocaine.
I have been homeless for over 100 days. I live here in this Prius, which is a rental car, and I work more than full time. I work more than 50 hours every week, and I can't qualify for an apartment in most states in America today. And, you know, I put out a couple videos recently about this, and a lot of people watched them and there was mixed reviews. And we're at a divide in this country right now where, you know, there seems to be this idea that if you want to be able to survive and work a job and be able to afford a home and a car and things like that, the essentials, somehow that is getting misconstrued for socialism. I've been called a socialist more times in the last few days than I care to count. And how is that socialism? Because when you think about it, right, just 15 years ago, 20 years ago, people could work one job, afford to buy a home, have a car, a newer car, a yearly vacation. You go back a little bit further, like 30 years ago, one person could earn for a whole family, could have a partner, children, a new car, and a yearly vacation on one income. So how are we at this point where people like myself that are working can't afford a place to even live? But then when we ask for that, it's somehow called socialism.
Yeah, I seen y'all had some one.
I mean, it's tough when you're working that many hours and still can't make ends meet. So he does have a point. I mean, it's inflation is tough for everyone.
Apartments for rent. How much they going for? Shit, like 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hell, it ain't like it matter anyway. We gonna raise the shit.
2, 3, 4, 5. What? Like, what you mean? Bands. Yeah, like 2, 3, 4, 5 bands. Racks, $1,000. Damn, the hood, like down the. Okay, what's the luxury features they come with? Why is so much? Shit, the refrigerator silver, and we just hit the walls with some fresh beige paint.
And we just put the fake wood flow in. You ain't ready for this?
Okay, cool. So I'm having to move out of my house because I can't afford rent. So I'm moving into my parents' property. But one time I couldn't afford rent either, and I was driving down the highway to try and go get help from social services, and the hood of my car smashed into my windshield and shattered it. So I pulled over, and this lady behind me pulled over and comes out. Turns out I happen to know her, so she helps me get to the social services office, and I'm calling my dad, and he's like out of state or out of town. And as I'm there, this other lady overhears me, and she's like, I'll call AAA and have them tow your car for free. What's your address? So they gave me a ride home, towed my car for free. A couple of days later, my friends called me, and they're like, hey, let's go out. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't go out. I can't even get to work. My car is completely wrecked. The windshield's wrecked. I can't even make rent. I don't know how I'm going to fix this, so sorry, guys. And they're like, hey, you know what? We just ran into some cash, and we want to help you. So they paid for my car, they got me a rental, and they paid for rent for me that month. And you want to know something? If the hood of my car hadn't flown up and shattered my windshield, none of that would have happened. I wouldn't have gotten any help, and I probably wouldn't have been able to pay rent that month because I never would have told them that, hey, I can't pay rent. Sorry, I can't go out. I'd have been like, sure, let's go out. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, you know what? Me moving into my parents' house at 30 is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to me. It feels like right now I'm pulling over on the side of the road with a shattered windshield. My life sucks, but you know what? Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. It doesn't matter. We're going to be fine. We're all going to be fine.
Man, you see how tired she looks too? Like, you can clearly tell the stress that she is under in that clip. But, man, at least she has a place to go to and, you know, be with some family. Because, man, that's tough if you don't. What are you going to do in that situation?
You're currently living in Alberta, specifically Calgary area, and you live downtown in a high-rise apartment. What the fuck do you do for work? Like, I need to know. Because I just went apartment shopping or, like, renting, whatever, with my friend the other day, and the prices are absolutely insane. And I just don't understand what job people are doing as Canadians. Like, I'm 25. What job would a 25-year-old have to be living in these apartments? Because it's just insane to me. Like, $1,800 for a studio apartment downtown, minus $200 parking, minus utilities. Like, what the fuck? How are you guys living? How are you guys living? Please tell me.
Today is Friday.
Sheesh.
And the rent is due. I'm feeling some kind of way, right? I don't really have much money after I pay rent. I might have like $300, and that'll probably go to my gas to get back and forth to work throughout the whole week until I get paid again. But I'm literally working just to pay rent for us to have a place to sleep. I don't know. I feel so sad, right? All my situations, but I did get something in the mail from the police station about my son and the situation with the vapes, right? So I'm hoping when I go to court, I have court cases that I have to fight too. So when I go to court, I'm hoping that all this evidence can help me in court. But I gotta go to work today, and I'm feeling some type of way. And because yesterday I had to leave work early because I had to pick up my daughter because she was having cramps and she was in the bathroom throwing up. So, you know, the school nurse is like, come get your daughter. So I had to stop working and drive an hour to go pick her up. And just not having anybody that I could depend on to help me, no family, just nobody. She was saying to me, she said, do you have anybody that you can call? And I told her no. There's nobody. There's nobody to call. I'm literally by myself.
Man, that financial stress too that you go through when you have no outlet there is crazy. You see, she was breaking down. Like, that's serious.
Of my 2-bedroom, 1 bath, $300 a month rent house. To preface, I live in the middle of nowhere in a small town in Arkansas. Also, houses in my town are not very expensive either if you want to buy one. And yes, it is only $300 a month to live here. I'm not going to show the bedrooms because I'm not going to show you my son's bedroom and mine and my husband's bedroom because that's weird. But I will show my bathroom and living room and kitchen. To start off with, we got this big ass mirror and all my little goodies. My little crystal collection. Not gonna lie, I got that off of Temu. I wouldn't say it's very girly pop. Not a big fan of this, like, ancient, I don't know what to call this. This house was built in, like, the 60s, okay? But I would say I like this part of the bottom cabinet. But yeah, you can tell it's pretty old. It's been pretty worn down. The woman that lived here before us, she lived here for 20 years, and it was filthy whenever we moved in, and it took about, like, 3 weeks to deep clean it. And then we have a small little hallway. Here's some storage right here that just has some tools and all the diapers, and we have way too many blankets. And now you see my son getting into some shit. Hello, Ollie. This is a very ratchet PC setup that is my husband's. And we're gonna go over here. Miss Rachel's life, by the way. And here is the living room. The reason why the ice maker is like in the middle of the living room is because whenever we moved in, there wasn't a single 3-prong plug-in. And this is a 3-prong plug-in. And the only 3-prong plug-in was under there. Goodwill recliner. This bad boy heats up the entire house. Also slightly embarrassing Funko Pop collection. That's my husband's. Look at how cute we are. No. And during the summer, that cools off the house pretty well. There's a lot of history behind this dryer. In our previous house, the lady that lived there before said we could have her dryer and washer. The dryer was in the bedroom. The reason why it is hand painted is because she wanted it to match the theme of her bedroom and chose the ugliest shade of yellow and brown possible. I know I need to take out the trash. Shut up. But here's the washer. She didn't paint that one to match the vibe. And here is our kitchen. We haven't had an oven in the 3 years that we lived together. I don't even think we would know how to use an oven at this point. So the litter box goes there, because there's nowhere else to put it. I primarily cook out of the toaster oven, microwave, and the Instapot. The Instapot, if you don't have an Instapot, get one. It makes life so much easier. And I'll probably put some of my recipes up later. And we have a shed outside in the back with a bunch of our stuff in it and stuff that our son grew out of. This is our front yard. And we have a pretty big backyard, and that's our shed. I would say the bills in total come around about $600, $700 a month, not counting groceries or anything. I'm currently a stay-at-home mom and live paycheck to paycheck, but you know, it is possible to find somewhere cheap to live. Because in this economy, ain't no way we're getting a house anytime soon that we own. So we just make do with what we have. We live humbly, but we love it here.
I pay $8. Man, you could tell right from there that, I mean, I believe it's $300, which is crazy. I've never seen rent that cheap ever. But I mean, they're making it work. They don't have an oven. They definitely don't have some things that would for sure be nice to have. But I mean, overall, they're making it work, but
$15 a week to live in
it's
a
crazy.
tent in Yosemite National Park with my girlfriend. And I'm here to give you a room tour. Now cut us some slack on the mess, because after 3 months of living in this tent, we are moving into a dorm. Outside we have 2 bear boxes, actually 3, and a mess. It's kind of charming. We have a nice creek right next to us. It's beautiful. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, bear boxes is like where we keep food and whatnot so that animals and bears don't get into our food. Or so that they don't get into our tent to get to our food or us. Anyways, the inside is a mess, so I'll keep it brief. This is my dresser, that's my girlfriend's dresser right there. Over here we have junk storage, and up there coat hangers. Off here to the left we have our bed, and a mess, and a mess. This thing has like plywood floors that are painted with some really crappy paint, right? Ow! Anyways, some really crappy paint. Everything is painted with this like weird shade of green. And the ceiling boards are kind of like aesthetic and whatnot, which is kind of cool. To top it all off, when we first got here, we had to like dig out our tent from snow. We do have a heater, which was really nice when it was absolutely frigid here. Pretty sure it got down to like 7 degrees one night. Anyways, this was such a mess, I don't even know why I took you through this room tour, but mainly just to show you how much better the dorm we're moving into is. There's some kind of weird and pretty creepy reasons for why we're getting moved, but I'll get into that later.
Let me let y'all in on.
Man, $18 is crazy. That looks like a shed, you know, but man, he's making it work.
Little secret I learned working in property management. If you live in an apartment complex and your utilities are included or your utilities are paid through your apartment complex, you know they're not doing that just to be nice and make it convenient for you, right? It's either for one or two reasons. One, they're getting a kickback, especially with the internet. Like if they're charging you $100 for an internet package, I guarantee you they're getting that internet for $50 to $75 per unit. So they're just pocketing the rest of your money. Or they're scratching somebody's back. So it's some type of business partnership. And, you know, they just want to hook up one of their homeboys and make sure they get paid for every tenant and every door that they have at their apartment complex. So yeah, that's your sign to start putting that plan in place to purchase a home.
Have landlords lost their minds? My roommate moved out a few months ago, so I currently live in a 2-bed, 2-bath by myself. And the price that I am paying for rent for a 2-bed, 2-bath with 2 parking spaces is the same amount of money I would be paying for a studio in Los Angeles, California. I feel like our whole perspective is warped because I hear people talking about, oh, I found a studio for $2,000, what a good deal. I just can't even process what is happening with rent costs in LA and also around the whole country. How is anybody affording rent? How?
It's getting
Hey,
super expensive,
I'd
man.
like to see this apartment for rent. No pets. Okay, we don't have any. Renter pays all utilities. Okay, that's fine. You need a 3-to-1 income to rent ratio. Great, we do. You need a credit score of at least 670 to even be considered. Great, that means we qualify because both of our credit scores are above 670. You need to fill out an application first, and then we can go ahead and decide. Okay, here's the application. Sorry, we've already rented out this property as of 2 days ago. Wonderful. How thoughtful of you to let me know after the fact.
I am this close to just thinking maybe it is better to rent for the rest of my life than to actually own property. Which sounds sad to say, but hear me out. It has always been my dream to purchase my own home, which is the whole reason I even started working 2 jobs for the last 5 years, hustling my ass off because I want to purchase my home so bad. I feel like a part of me is starting to realize there's so many cons to owning your own home. For example, number 1, if I were to buy it in California, I would have to have a 30-year loan. And I don't want to spend the next 30 years of my life paying off my home. That means I'm never able to just up and leave because now my home is here, my life is here. If anything goes wrong as a homeowner, I have to fix it, which could be so expensive. Roof, plumbing, maintenance, all of that, right? That's something I would be responsible for. If I move out of state though, which by the way, I can more than enough afford to pay off the home within like 5 years, then I had to pick up my whole life here, move it somewhere else, hopefully find a job over there. Even if I move it there, regardless, I can't just leave. Now my home is there. Versus if you rent, like if you rent an apartment, if anything goes wrong, you're not responsible. Also, you can up and leave whenever you want. You're not restricted. You can break the lease and you can move to another state if you please to. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I feel
Tough
like
decision.
one of the ways that people enter homelessness that isn't talked about enough is when you have already gone through the process of finding an affordable place to rent and you're living there, and then your landlord sells the home to another landlord. That landlord comes, buys the home, does nothing to it, and then ups the price and prices you out of your home that you're already living in. That happens all the fucking time. Like, you could literally have done all the work, made sure you found a spot that you could afford, was in your price range, wasn't extravagant or whatever people say about us who don't have enough money. Like, the people that you rent from can literally just sell your house to somebody else, and that other person can start charging way more for the same exact thing, and you cannot afford it, and you could be out of a house, especially when it happens near the end of your lease.
Well, that was a depressing look.
I mean, she's not lying. Yeah, I mean, they can sell it. You don't own it, own the property, so it is one of those, I guess, risks or downsides to renting. But if you like these type of videos, man, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm out.